Welcome guys, Skypilot here. Today a little bit of time on the workbench. I've got my HGLRC F760 stack here. Just soldered on the power supply and the capacitor. What I'm doing is I'm going to do a quick build. Well, it probably won't be quick, but you guys will probably see it as being pretty quick. A build of my Sector 5 here. I've got some recently purchased MEPS space motors. These are the groovy little MEPS motors from MEPSKING. Have a look down the links below where you can purchase these from. These are the space motors, really nice. These are the 2306 2450 kV, and I'm pretty much looking forward to seeing how this thing flies with these motors. So I'm going to quickly run through my build, how I put this thing together, in case you guys are doing a build with a similar flight controller stack. I went for the stack. These are super popular and yeah, super reliable. What I am going to be putting on this as well as a VTX is my Walksnail Avatar VRX, which is coming sometime next week, so certainly stay tuned and I'll show you how I incorporate that build in here as well. So if you guys are going to be putting something together similar to this or doing your own build, yeah, you might learn something from this, or you may be able to give me some tips as well. Okay, let's get building. If you are going to do a build like this, you're going to need a few tools, bits and pieces. I use a little TS100 soldering iron, nice little 3S Turnigy 3.0 battery to power up my solder. Just get yourself some flux, some solder, a few tools. Magnifying glass is really good because some of the boards on here are very hard to see. What I'm going to do now is I am going to tin up all my ESCs onto my MEPS motors, which will mean I have the bottom portion of the stack already good to go. Okay, let's get soldering. Dab a little bit of solder onto the pad, give it a bit of a swirl around, and you'll find that it sticks a lot better than if the pad's cold, etc. So the pad does need to be quite warm. If you're not too sure why you're pre-tinning these pads here before you put your motor wires on, then you try putting motor wires on without doing this, and then let me know how you go. Give a little gentle swirl around, you'll find it sticks to the pad. Make sure there's no bridging with the solder. If you do get any bridging, you're going to have some serious troubles later on when you try and fly or try and connect to Betaflight and play around with some settings. All pads are nicely soldered. Yeah, we're good to put our motors on. And in case you're wondering how you configure the wiring, 3 wires, sometimes a bit confusing, I just keep them nice and flat. And so the furthest one to say the left here goes on the first one, center one on the next, and the third one close to me on the third one down. And of course change your motor direction. You can actually change your ESCs and everything in BL Heli and I believe Betaflight too, so don't get too stressed if your motor is spinning the wrong way. That's all the wires soldered up to the ESC. It's always a good idea just to double check them, make sure that they are all securely connected to the board nicely, and of course, like I said before, there's no bridging. That's that job ticked off. On to the next stage. The Zeus pack actually does come with a fair bit of gear. You get all your connectors, get some nice soft dampers, some nuts, and a nice little row of 5 connectors. So these are for various things, such as connecting the flight controller to your ESCs, and also GPSs, receivers, TBS, etc. And also, as I'm going to be doing, connecting straight into my flight controller with my Avatar HD setup, which is going to be great. HGLRC are really nice to put through. Some manufacturers have these holes too small and you've got to use tools to push these dampers through, but you can just use fingers with this one by giving it a gentle twist. What I do really like is teaching you guys how to do things and to take your time and not hurry. As you may very well see, what I've gone and done is I've got the back of the board here, battery facing that way. And as you may have already seen, the antennas here. So this board needs to be swung around that way, which means either taking all the solders off, which I don't really want to do because they're really nice little solders, or do you know what, I might just take the motors off and spin it around. Yeah, rookie error. Sometimes, as you know, when you're making these things, you do make stupid mistakes. Take your time, look what you're doing, and yeah, hopefully you won't make the same blue. Okay, let's switcheroo.
A few moments later.
You got to admit, that's pretty funny. Certainly a lot easier unsoldering everything, so just pull the motors out, spin it around. So we are now facing north, the correct direction, and the battery's at the butt. All well and good. Okay, where were we? That's right, flight controller. After what we've just done, make sure it's the right direction. You'll see a little arrow somewhere on it. An arrow which is pointing that way, which means we need to be forward facing of the quad. So this actually sits upside down this way, and it will be sitting straight down there like so. Carefully attach that to our ESCs. Make sure it's in nice and solid. You don't want that one popping out. We can either fold the wires under slightly, just give it a slight kink with your screwdriver and just push it, and then drop it down into your mounting screws. So, flight controller, ESC's mounted, motors soldered up, capacitor, power supply. Okay, moving along. Next thing I like to do once I got to this stage, I've used my trusty cloth tape here, really handy. Grab yourself some of that, pretty cheap, and securely fasten the motor wires to the frame. So now what I'm going to do with my gizmo that I made up myself, which is basically just an on-off button, get yourself a smoke stopper, really handy in case you light up something wrong when you do its first power up. This will take any faults that you have, rather than throwing your boards. You'll get an indicator on here showing that you've done something wrong. So let's put them on. All I'll do is push the button here, and hopefully everything makes a nice sweet motor connect noise. Lovely. Okay. Looking good. I can feel that all the motors are talking to the ESC flight controller, or vice versa, so that's good. So far so good. Next thing I'm going to do is I will be utilising TBS Crossfire. Now I have my TBS Crossfire. This one here is actually not your standard TBS Crossfire, however something yeah, a little bit better. This is the Crossfire Pro. Little antenna there. Nice fresh antenna. This is actually the Crossfire Nano RX Pro, so it's much longer distance, better penetration than your standard TBS RX, so yeah, shouldn't lose any telemetry with this bad boy. The V2, not sure, you've probably seen a bazillion unboxing videos of this. This is the new version of the Walksnail HD gear. I'm not going to do a specific video of unboxing. Yeah, quick start guide, and there's the fabulous little VTX kit there. MEPS-FPV camera at the front, a little attachment there for your USB-C, and you've got your antenna. I was a bit concerned that my camera mount was going to be too small for this camera, however, looking at it now, it gets mounted that way. It is actually pretty much perfect, so yeah, that's a nice relief. I thought I was going to be using some spacers or doing some angle grinding, not too sure, but that's going to be yeah, plug and play straight in. Let's get to it. Put our Crossfire on, put our Walksnail Avatar HD kit on, hook it up to beta flight, make sure our MEPS motors are spinning in the right direction, and then we're going to have a little fly, see how she goes. Okay, moment of truth. I've just hooked up my avatar system to my sky zones. If you're not too sure what I've done here, I've got a separate video of this, so yeah, have a look in the link below up on the screen there. How I've hooked my avatar system onto my sky zone 04Xs. So what we can do now is going to power on this unit, bind them, and hopefully we're going to get a picture. If not, we're in trouble.
Welcome to OpenTX.
To bind them, you've got a little binding button up here on the top right, a little tiny hole there, so you press that at the same time you press the bind button that is on the side here, and hopefully they'll talk and there'll be a little beep and all will be good. It's powered on. So far so good. So press and press. Okay, you'll see a red light. I can hear 3 beeps. We've gone to green now. Green flashing, green flashing. I'm assuming it's binding. We'll just have a look inside the goggles. Oh, look at that. Firmware version do not match. Please update your firmware. So I've got a message inside saying update firmware. So if I go over to using the toggle here, I go over to check. Looks like I'll probably need to upgrade the firmware as well. But the good news is we have picture. Good news is, not too sure if you can see that. I'll try and get it in there. Yeah, we've got a picture in our goggles, which means VTX is out talking, which is always fantastic. So what I can do now is just move my camera around. Oh, that's a really nice picture. Holy moly, that's unbelievable. I shall turn everything off. Now I shall assemble the VTX properly, now that I know it's working and I've wired it up correctly. Thank you. I shall do some assembling now and try and get this thing up in the air.
Right, one, depending on how you mount it, usually 20x20, just place the screws straight through your frame there. So depending on how thick your frame is will be dependent on the screw use, so dependent on the screw use, so let's see how we go down here. I'm going to mount this so that it's going to be facing the antenna going this way.
Getting closer guys, so you can see I've mounted the camera, fitted really well. Cadex does include a couple of nice little washers, so it enabled me to mount the camera nice and tight, and it fits in my HGLRC frame absolutely perfectly. A couple of things to look out for. Don't forget to make sure your camera's facing the right direction. There's a nice little arrow on the rear of the camera facing up, which lets you know which way your camera needs to be screwed on, otherwise you're going to be putting it on the wrong way. I've got my TBS back here ready to be attached. It's amazing what bits and pieces you use when you get into FPV. I needed to soft mount this. Need to soft mount the Walksnail VTX antenna. The hole's too big on my frame, so I actually found this damper in my kit of goodies, and I've stuck it on there, and it actually fits really well. It also gives it some protection in case it gets knocked. So yeah, that was a big plus. TBS antenna mounted at the back here. You can see I've put my avatar system. The back fits really nicely with the supplied screws, fits perfectly. I have my wires running on the top here. Just make sure none of the wires are too tight and they're all fairly loose. And of course, when you do all your soldering, make sure you haven't bridged any pads. And it's always good to give it a cold run, which is what I've done here. I've cold run my GPS, make sure that's all hooked up correctly in beta flight. So the TBS GPS motors are good, spinning in the right direction. Got my Walksnail hooked up, running fine through my goggles, camera up the right way. Now I think we're just about ready to put it back together. Okay, out in the field, not too windy. Just finished my build of my HGLRC, my Zeus flight controller. Hope you've enjoyed the build. Just warming up my GPS so I don't waste it on my main power supply. And just going to have a fly somewhere down there. And over there are some kangaroos, so we'll have a bit of a chase of them as well. Should pick them up pretty well with the avatar setup on the roof there. I'm just trying out my new stubbies as well. They should work pretty decent. Enjoy the scenery, enjoy the music. Let's see how this build went. Hopefully she flies. I have no idea what's going on with my battery. I've just charged it up. I think it could be a beta flight setting. I'm not sure. It's asking me to land. Okay. No, that's not very good. Maybe my battery's naked. Alright, let's put the other battery on. Well, that's just ridiculous. Fly around here briefly. I have no idea what's going on with my power supply. I'm just hovering above the ground in case it distracted down. I think I could have a beta flight for the problem because I charged this up fully with some few trouble finding satellite. Let's go down in the canopy down there and just see how, nice and slowly, just see how the penetration is for these goggles. I'm not happy about that land now flashing, folks. To talk about my build. It's actually flying really well. The stupid batteries are flying up. I've just ordered 3, by the way. I know I keep talking about it, but I've just got 3 on order. Let's put the little 15. Yeah, this is a Dingy 1850, fully charged. Not too sure what's going on with that. Flying a gale. Crikey. Let's have a quick yarn about my build. Yeah. Flaming awesome. After the wind. Got some nice running gear in here, folks. These MEPS motors. Got the Zeus flight controller. ESCs. MEPS props, everything's down below, of course, like normal. 5 satellites. Beautiful picture. Yeah, if anybody's thinking about getting into HD, then this is the way to go. It's certainly the most cost effective. You can still fly all your analog quads if you want, and then you can just make up a couple and chop and change your gear around and run your Walksnail avatar through it. Oh crikey, it's windy. I was going to do a bit of a specky through the trees, but the wind's just blowing me around. Oh, it's really windy up there. Goodness me. Let's get down low and go for a BMX track run, shall we? It's a good spot to fly when it's not windy. Rolling end up in the drink there. Yeah, I quite like these little stubby antennas. They're working really well. All through the trees. This is flying really nice, guys. I know I'm not pushing it too much. I just built it. Yeah, just want to see how it flies before I do anything too silly with it. Don't really want to break it. Don't really want to hit anything either. Penetration through the trees. I'm completely out of sight now and starting to break up a little bit, but that's really nice. If I was analog, I'd be knackered, for sure. Oh, look at the wind blowing, you guys. Whoa, crikey. Yeah, really happy with this build, folks. It's worked out really well. It's flying beautifully. Oh, we've got some GPSs up there. Okay. And let's go for our inaugural reach the sky fly around before we reach those batteries. Put in a bit of a look around. I fly over there, but I don't really know. A lot of trees to hunt through to find my quad. Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, short flight, right back. Dump it in front of the camera here so you guys can have a quick look at it. What do you think, folks? Let me know in the comments. Spent a long time going through this build, so I'm really happy it works. Conditions aren't ideal. Power supply isn't ideal. I'll rectify that hopefully fairly soon. Yep, your thumbs up and your comments would be much appreciated. See you next flight. Thanks very much for stopping by to the end. Much appreciated. Bye for now.